What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, back at it again with another crypto market update. Today we've got MantraDAO, Zcash, and Metaplex. These three cryptos have been pumping the most over the last 24 hours, and I'm sure you all want to know, why are they pumping? How high will they go? Are they going to get rejected and keep heading lower or keep heading higher? If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. We're going to be covering the top 3 performing cryptos over the last 24 hours from Monday through Thursday. So that's the kind of content you want, then be sure to stick around. With that being said, guys, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal crypto trading strategy, my personal crypto analysis. If you have a difference of opinion, then honestly, guys, as I always say, having a difference of opinion is awesome. It'll make us better traders, better investors. So if you do have some disagreements, be sure to drop them down in the comment section. So with that being said, guys, first up, we have Mantra, aka MantraDAO, aka Mantra Chain, whatever you want to call it. Of course, Mantra finally launched their mainnet. For those of you who don't know, Mantra is a real-world assets crypto. We actually covered it for our Coin Bureau Club members. We'll get to the Coin Bureau Club a little bit later in the video, but we had kind of flagged the fact that Mantra would be one of these top performing RWA cryptos, and they finally launched their mainnet, and starting today on Monday, the staking rewards have gone live. So this is probably why you're seeing lots of ohm pumping, is because people are saying, oh, well, it was one thing before where I could just like buy and just like speculate, but now I can actually buy in and stake it and earn some rewards. So I think that's what a lot of people are doing. So turning over to the charts now, guys, we can see that MantraDAO is looking pretty bullish in my opinion. And again, it's not just my personal bias, but just keep in mind, guys, that of all these hot narratives, I do think RWAs is going to be a big one, especially when you consider that like BlackRock's launching all this stuff on Ethereum. This is what people forget. Everyone's saying like, oh, like Ethereum, why is it like Ethereum sucks, like it's never going to pump. Actually, guys, I think what's going to happen is, especially once we get some better regulatory clarity, this is what people forget, is like around like the least amount of regulatory clarity is not with altcoins, it's not with DeFi, it's actually with these RWAs. It's like that merging of TradFi and DeFi. That's where things get really complicated, and that's where a lot of regulatory clarity is needed. And as soon as markets get the sense that, hey, we're getting regulatory clarity, all these RWA cryptos, in my opinion, are going to pump really hard, and it's possible that we could get that in the coming weeks. Especially if there's a change in administration, which kind of seems inevitable regardless of who wins. Not going to get into politics here, guys. Point being that the MantraDAO chart is looking insanely bullish, even if you just go back, since the spring. It's basically been grinding higher. And I think it's going to have another big move to the upside here. And of course, using our handy target math, we have a starting point of around 90 cents, resistance of around $1.40. That gives us a difference of around 50 cents. And of course, that gives us a target of $1.90, so just under $2, which makes perfect sense. Again, guys, do keep in mind that these $1, $2 targets, there's a lot of psychological resistance, because a lot of people who bought earlier, everyone is thinking, I'm going to sell when it hits $1, and then they end up selling either a little bit before, or whales will come in and like manipulate the price so it goes a little bit higher. People FOMO back in, and then the whales dump, and you know how that story goes. So yeah, guys, so just do keep that in mind, that whenever we have like this $1, $2 target, just always keep in mind that there is going to be a little bit of front running to that. But even with that, guys, like the risk reward ratio here is looking pretty damn good. Almost looking at a 4, it's a 3.74, so 35% to the upside, around 10% to the downside, assuming the support is around $1.25. If you're taking a cheeky trade there, which in my opinion, I think that 1.25 support, if you want to be super safe, you can set it at like 1.2 or whatever. And not telling you guys what to do, just saying as a suggestion. You could, if I was trading this and I wanted to be super safe, I'll drop that down to 1.2, as you can see, because there's been like wicks down to that level before. But regardless, guys, even without leverage, just like holding the crypto, a 30% return over the next couple of weeks is not too bad, especially when you compare it to all these other asset classes. And this is what people forget. Like everyone's obsessed with leverage and getting like a 100x return out of this like 30% move. It's like, guys, you can literally just consistently get those like 20, 30, 40% gains, and you'll be rich in no time. Literally, it's that easy, especially now that we're in entering this bull market phase. And I know I've been saying that for a couple of weeks, and there's been a little bit of chop and a little bit of FUD and this and that and the other. But guys, the long-term trend, especially over the next few months, is to the upside, especially for altcoins. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, the risk is to the upside. So yeah, maybe some calls will be wrong and we'll see a little bit of a pullback, and it's going to pull back more than you think and more than I thought. But overall, it's going to keep chopping higher, just like you see here. Like I think Mantra's a perfect example. He's like a huge boost, and then just like a massive crash. Huge boost, and then who knows, maybe we'll get another massive crash here too before it keeps heading higher. But the way it's looking now, guys, I think it's looking pretty bullish here on the setup, and I think there's going to be maybe a few days of chop. And then depending on the election outcome, I think MantraDAO is going to see a huge explosion. And guys, of course, we are using Bybit there on the exchange. So if you want to get a sweet deal there, be sure to check out the Coin Bureau deals page. We have up to $60,000 in rewards. I know what you're thinking is like, oh, like I'm not a whale, I'm not going to be able to make the most out of these rewards. To be honest, guys, maybe not. But even those rewards, a little bit of saving, here and there really helps, especially when it comes to these trading fee discounts that we have on other exchanges like Blowfin and OKX and KuCoin. These trading fee discounts will help you a lot, especially if you're trading frequently. And we also have a Bybit deal, and this is all down in the description, guys. And if you want to get that sweet that Bybit deal, It'll be down in the description. Sorry, I think I said Binance instead of Bybit or whatever. Anyways, guys, moving on now to Zcash. So this is where things get really interesting, guys. So Zcash is basically this privacy coin. It's been around for a long time. It's been kind of like a controversial crypto, I would say. I think it was like proof of work, and then they were going to switch to proof of stake, or they're still discussing it. Honestly, I'm not up to speed there, guys. That doesn't really matter. The point is that the supposed catalyst is this, 28th of October, which is today, celebrating 8 years. Like I said, this crypto's been around for a while. So it looks like they're going to be doing some celebration later today. Maybe there's going to be some announcement, and maybe we're seeing some whales, like front run that, and maybe there's going to be some big announcement that causes this move here that I'll get to in a second. But guys, see, the thing that's really interesting about Zcash is it makes me wonder, what is really driving this price action? As you guys know, when I'm suspicious of like what's going on, even when like this catalyst is like, okay, 8-year anniversary, am I supposed to believe that this is why Zcash is pumping so much? I don't think so. So what I do is I go to CoinMarketCap, as you guys know, and I click on the markets tab, and I go down here and I sort by the trading volume to see where's trading the most. And here's where things are really interesting. Check this out, guys. There's this exchange called Yobit. I've heard of it. I've personally never used it, but of course it's one of these exchanges, let's say that's like not as reputable, not as well known. And you can see that almost half of the volume for Zcash is coming from Yobit, and it's not trading against USDT, guys. It's trading against BTC, which is super fascinating. I don't think I've seen that before, at least not in recent memory. And that suggests to me that there must be some like Bitcoin whales or something that are potentially pumping up Zcash's price on this offshore exchange, which is super fascinating, right? Typically it's always like, a lot of this, let's say, I don't want to call it manipulation, but a lot of this like, speculation, whatever, is done through USDT. So the fact that it's coming through BTC, at least to me personally, is very fascinating. Anyways, guys, I do think that Zcash, similarly to Mantra, DAO, and all these other altcoins, I do think Zcash is heading higher in the short term. But of course, the returns are not necessarily as lucrative on a risk-reward basis, like not looking too bad here. Looking at around 22% to the upside and 7% to the downside. So the risk-reward ratio, like around 3. So not too shabby. And again, guys, by now you probably, I actually forgot to put in the target math here, but I'm sure that by now we can calculate it together. It's super simple, guys, right? Repeat after me. What's the starting point? 30. What's the resistance? It's 40. Okay, what's the difference there? That's $10. So you take the difference plus the resistance, and we get our target of around $50. And of course, guys, always keeping in mind that we could see a little bit of front running. So, maybe it'll like top out somewhere around, I don't know, let's say $48, which would bring the rewards closer down to like, I don't know, to 18% or something like that. Because again, guys, with these psychological levels, $50, $100, $1, $2, $5, a lot of people will be selling in advance, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with this potential $38 support, which is now kind of acting as resistance. But although I would argue that this $40 is more of a resistance purely mainly for that psychological level, but also you can see that there's a lot more resistance here in the recent price action. But with all that being said, guys, yeah, I think Zcash is heading higher. But again, the gains are not necessarily going to be as big, and it's something that's keeping in mind that there seems to be a little bit of a Bitcoin funny business going on there. It's not something that I would personally touch. But of course, if you're looking for a cheeky trade, then this is looking good. It looks like it could keep heading higher here in the next few days, next couple weeks. And of course, guys, that doesn't mean it's not gonna, that it couldn't just get rejected and fall down. That's always possible. And in that case, it would probably bring Zcash back to the starting point of around $30. Anyways, guys, so now moving on, similar story. So Metaplex has been pumping. So first thing that I do and first thing that you should do is go to their Twitter/X and you check and you look around and say, okay, is there any big public announcement? Is there any reason why Metaplex could be pumping? Well, in this case, it's not really super obvious. You can see the last announcement here was from 3 days ago. So there's nothing like in the immediate term that suggests that, there's a reason why Metaplex should be pumping. So, okay, so you've gone, you've checked the Twitter/X. You can't see an obvious catalyst as to why it's pumping. So that means we have to go over here, of course, to CoinMarketCap, check the markets tab, sort by volume and say, okay, what's going on here? And here's, similar to like with Zcash, you can see that, wow, 75% of the trading volume for Metaplex is coming from Gate.io, which again, I personally use Gate.io. I know a lot of people have had issues with it. I personally never have. Maybe like a little bit of quirks like around like deposits and withdrawals or whatever, but I've never had like, my money stuck in there for a long time or whatever, which I will say, full disclosure, guys, that there has been some people, even in our own community, who have claimed that they've had money stuck in there. I'm sure that there's nuances there, and Gate.io would probably have some kind of explanation for that. But just do keep in mind, guys, that this is an exchange that's not, exactly well known to be like super reputable, let's say. And the fact that 75% of the volume is coming from Metaplex on that exchange is very, very, let's say, suspect, to say the least. But with that being said, guys, of course, the whole Solana ecosystem is pumping, so that's probably part of it. And again, guys, we can't deny what we see in the charts, and here Metaplex is looking, honestly, is looking incredibly bullish. You can see it's basically been chopping sideways, kind of like Solana, basically since the start of the year. and now we're basically on a brink of a huge breakout in this case. You know, I did take the time to put in the target math. I did remember this time with the starting point of 20 cents, resistance around 50 cents. Of course, it gives us a difference of 30 cents, and that gives us a target of 80 cents, which, you know, to the upside, you're looking at around a 50 to 55% gain, potentially, if it breaks above this resistance level. Always keep that in mind, guys. Besides these like psychological resistance levels, of course, we have the actual resistance levels, which in this case is around 50 cents, and it has to break above that, you know, at least for a day or two before it keeps heading higher. And even then, guys, like, it's looking pretty good. Risk-reward ratio only of around 3, because, you know, the downside risk there could be quite sizable of around 20%. You know, it could potentially fall back down to this level of around 40 cents, which you can see is like a support, even just visually here. You don't even need a line. You can kind of see it. Like, I can see that a lot of prices clustering around 40 cents. By that upside, that potential upside there, guys, is looking pretty juicy in my opinion. And even if we zoom out a little bit more here, sorry for the distortion, you can see that, yeah, guys, this is like a basically massive consolidation pattern. You could call it a bull flag, call it whatever you want, but you can see that there's a huge move that's been in the making now for months and months and months, a lot of consolidation, and we're finally starting to see a massive breakout. And I do think that Metaplex is headed for 80 cents, and who knows, maybe it'll even go even higher. One thing to keep in mind, guys, with Metaplex is it's to my understanding, they do a lot of NFT trading on this. It's basically an exchange for like NFTs and other types of digital assets on Solana. And if you actually look at the NFT market on Solana, you can see it's starting to pop off. And I actually think that this could also be a contributing factor as to why Metaplex is pumping and why it could continue to pump, because we could see a resurgence of Solana NFTs. Kind of pains me to say it, but you know, it's something that could come in the not too distant future, and I have to flag that for you guys. With that being said, guys, if you do want to you know, learn about these smaller cryptos that are lesser known, like Metaplex, these are exactly the types of cryptos that we review on the Coin Bureau Club. We do weekly altcoin reviews of like these kind of small cap, mid cap cryptos that are super interesting. Our members get to vote on which ones we cover, so that we're, you know, super unbiased and impartial. We do our best, of course, to be unbiased and impartial. We showcase our personal crypto portfolios. Also showcased we showcase our watch list, like which cryptos we're watching, considering adding. And I also do daily technical analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum in the members Discord. And I've basically been calling this move in Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. And as a fun fact, guys, on Friday when we got this FUD around you know, potential like tether crackdown or whatever in the US, which is a whole other topic, but I could actually see in my indicators, I could see a couple hours before, and I let the Coin Bureau Club know you know, that something was kind of coming, and then a couple hours later the news comes out, and you know, whoever was trading, actually they were able to save their skin. And you know, that's not my intention. You know, I'm not trying to like, you know, influence people's market positions, but I am kind of giving these signals. Let's say I'm saying, you know, like, hey, I'm kind of seeing this in the charts now, and I'm seeing the recovery, and as soon as the kind of FUD hit, and then like after maybe 24, 48 hours, I could see that the momentum indicators on my side were improving for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And lo and behold, it looks like we're going to keep going higher here. So yeah, guys, if you did make it this far, then smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.